everybody, I'm Marquet with C. Marquet Studios, and today I'm going to teach you how to paint a fairy flying home the easy way. Let's roll! Now to get started, you're going to need a canvas. This is an 8x10 size, and go onto the website C. Marquet Studios and get the free traceable. What I did was I cut them apart and taped them together so that they would fit on an 8x10 canvas, or you can blow them up and print each one individually and then tape them together and then do it on a bigger canvas, which is what I'll be showing you how to paint on. But for the transferring, you'll use regular carbon paper, and then you'll use painter's tape to tape that down to your canvas, and then you'll put your traceable on top of that, and then use Scotch tape to tape it down securely. And then I use a stylus to trace it, but you can use a dull pencil. One of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to get my sponge wet, and I'm going to use my Masterson's wet palette. I'm going to put a piece of palette paper in there, and then we're going to get out our colors. So we're going to get out the Mont Marty paint set. But I also want you to know that it's okay to paint with acrylic pen. This is going to make it a lot easier for those tight spaces in between the wing sections here. And you can also trace around, and it just makes it easier. We're going to start out with one of the makeup brushes with some white and lemon yellow and some water. Now that we have some lemon yellow and some white on our wet palette, we're going to take the makeup blender brush and dip it in water, kind of squeeze the water out, and then start mostly with the white, add a little bit of yellow to it, like that, mostly white, and just go in a circle. So now I'm just going around with more white just over the edges of her. And that gives her a nice highlighted background. Now we're going to come in with a different color paint and paint the impression of some trees back there. Let me show you how to do that. And we're going to take some Mont Marty paint that's the light blue. It's called cerulean blue. We're going to mix that with some white paint till it's pretty light, because acrylics dry darker, so add lots of white. And then we're going to just start painting some strokes going up and down. Remember to add lots of water to the paintbrush, but not so much that it's runny. Add more. And the paint up and down. When you get to the yellow, start making streaks like this. You can even take a dab of the cerulean blue that was not mixed with white and just hit the edges with that. So I've pulled out the phthalo green, and using a very nicely wet brush that's dipped off on the sides of the water jar, we're going to go in with some phthalo green just on the bottom underneath that tree. I'm going to go up underneath the line of that top root, and I'm going to darken it underneath there. Just taking the side of the brush and pulling it up. Look like a giant plant here. Carry up some small ones here. I'm going to work with some white and some yellow with that green in the brush. It's kind of a nice teal green. It's a real pretty bluish green. some color to that. Some bushes a little further over. Just tapping the side of my brush with that leftover paint there. And flicking it sideways. Just put a little bit of flicks down in here to give it a bushy look. And we'll kind of put the hint of some greenery down here on the left side too. I'm going to go with a little bit more darker green there. And a little bit of white and yellow to the edge. I might just go ahead and add some darker green in there. That gives us something to work with. We've got to fill in the other side of that tree. Now what I want to do is I want to put some more orangish, like a peachy tone in the background there. So I'm going to get that blender brush out and we're going to get some orange and some white and then a tiny bit of orange, just a little bit of it. Mix it with a little yellow, a lot more white. So it's a very, very pale orangish. We need to let our paint dry. I'm going to get some Marty brown here. We're going to start with a medium brown and it's called Burnt Sienna. So on our little palette we're going to put Burnt Sienna, a little bit of black, and some raw umber to paint our crooked tree. We're going to go ahead and use that raw umber and mix with a little burnt sienna first. Get a nice medium color going, not too dark, not too light. And make it go a little bit further, put a little bit of water in there. And let's start painting our tree. Taking a little bit of black. I'm just going to put a little bit of black for the shadow here. Around the house, a little bit of black there for the shadow. Shadow with the dip there. Generally just put some black lines throughout the tree. I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush now. I have a short-handled number 2, and I'm going to get a little bit of orange and put it on the side of that knot, in the middle of that knot, on the edge of that knot, just to highlight that knot a little bit. And then I'm going to go back in with some white. Highlight just the edge of it just a little bit, and circle over here on the side. And we're gonna let that dry. Now I want to do the door in purple, and it's just called purple. I'm gonna start with the dark purple first, just 100% purple and water. We do need to let that dry before we add our highlights to it. I also wanted to give her a purple dress. While that dress is drying, I wanted to paint her as a blue fairy. So I just took the blue, the light blue that was on my palette there. I'm going to put some white on this canvas where those blue lines were. A little bit of that darker blue, the pure blue. Mix up to a nice light blue like we did before. I think I am going to add some yellow to that. To give her a little bit more white on her legs. I'm going to give some shadow to the steps down here. Get a little shadow around the side, and give a little shading over on this side. Where the light's not hitting it. And let's give it a doorknob. put a little just a little bit on the hinges. A little bit on the doorknob. Just some white streaks in here. I think I got a little bit too much knot in there, so I'm going to cover it up with some brown. And I'm going to put some brown streaks in this tree. Some more brown streaks. Especially up there around the top. Wing. I'll put some white in that one. Burnt sienna. Just give it a little bit of highlights. You should have a little bit of highlight just hitting the edge of that frame. Alright, we're going to go back over that with some brown because I went a little crazy with that. I'm going to add some magenta to the palette. We're going to switch over to the easy way of painting. But first we're going to paint some background magenta pink into those wings. And I'm just mixing the white with the pink. I'm going to make that lighter in there and darker here. We need to fix her hair while the wings are drying. Get some yellow and a lot of white with the yellow. Lots and lots and lots of white. A little bit of that purple and white. Mixing it to really light lavender again. As this wing is in the back, I'll make that a little bit darker. So add some purple back there. Kinda. So we have some of this golden white over here, which I'm going to mix with a little bit of that leftover purple on my paintbrush. I'm going to blend that out. Our little pink cheek. Now we're going to go into the paint pens. I wanted to also show you a trick with these flowers. This is a vine growing up with the flowers, and we're going to use the paint pens to do that. I'll use the green one. These are the kind where you have to poke them down. And we're just going to trace that line. And there's the vine. I'm going to go underneath the doorknob there. Make it look like a little bit of a shadow. A little bit of a shadow there. And the vine. also going to have some pieces of grass here. So to make the impression of little leaves, just draw some little lines coming out of that vine. Just little lines, wiggly little lines like that. Wiggly little lines. And then come back, just make a little point out of them. Come back down just next to them. Make yourself some little leaves. Color those in. Alrighty, we got those little leaves. And we're going to paint some bright flowers on there. And they must be pink, of course. Pink flowers. Just gonna make some little taps with that pink. Just tap your little paintbrush on there. That will make a little bit of flowers. Then we're going to go back in with some darker magenta and just hit one side of them, underneath it or next to it. Tap it with your paintbrush. Just beside it or below each one. There we go. Some orange in there. I'm not sure if orange would look good. Maybe a yellow orange. Mixed some yellow with white. Did not clean off my brush, so it's orangish. That is very pretty. It gets layered and layered, more layered, and it looks prettier all the time. A little bit of white in there. Probably need to make that darker magenta in the center of this wing here. Thinking we should put some of that orange. And I still do want to go with some white on the edges here. I really think I would like to give her a few sprinkles of hair down over her face. And she lost her ear. And she has the cutest pointed ear, so we'll use some of the cerulean blue to give her ear back. And a little bit of mouth, chin back. I'll go over that again with some white, so it's not quite as drastic with the blue. And then we need to go back into that light blue again. Now also, while we've got a little dab of Duya of white, I want to take that thick golden white on the edge of my little tiny paintbrush and just take the tip of it and just barely hit those flowers. Give them a little bit of a highlight, just a tip. That makes them stand out. They were kind of that color that's a little dark, and that's okay, but you needed just a little hint of that, and then For the leaves, we're going to give it a hint of yellow and white. And we're going to just dab just a little bit on that leaf. Just a teeny tiny bit. Kind of smear it with my finger. There we go. Now you can see those leaves. Amazing, isn't it? So I'm going to put some sprigs of yellow down in here over those. Just a little bit of a yellow highlight on the edge of the tree here, where she's shining her light on that tree. There, she's got a little fairy shine going there. Could add a little bit more here. And now we're going to get out the paint pens. I'm just thinking that purple would be kind of good to go over that with. Well, my camera did it again. Battery overheated. But just wanted you to know, I got out the light purple and went over the lines that I could see in the tracing, and then I went over them with a dark blue. It's very easy with these pens. You just push them against something hard until the acrylic paint comes down into the tip, and then you just trace your lines where the traceable shows you. And I added in an eye, a little eyebrow, a little bit of a nose, and a mouth. And then I put streaks through the hair. I also added some of these little circles and went around the edges in a circle instead of a square. But it's very easy to do. You can do that. There's really no instruction. You just follow the lines and color it in. As you can see, I kind of messed up there a little bit. So I'll get out my palette again and get some of that same paint. And we went with purple, a light purple. So we'll just go ahead and touch that up right there. Now these acrylic paints that come in the tubes, they are water activated too. The only thing else I was going to add with a little brush would be if I wanted to add a little bit of color to the pretty little circles up there. I really didn't do anything else except for just slash upwards and make some grass down here. I'm just going to fill in where it's white down here. And then go over the little grass things that I drew up there. And then we had a little bit of blue over here that was a little bit blotchy looking. The only thing else that was bothering me with this was that I think I got a little bit too much white on the stair steps. So I'm going to darken that down just a little bit. It's got a little bit too much white. So I need to go back in with some more white. The tree was bothering me a little bit when I stood back and looked at it. Burnt sienna, I wanted to just add some more because it just, don't think it would have been highlighted there as much. So that was just bugging me a little bit. I put that, a little bit of brown in there. Just don't think she would have been highlighted that much. There we go. I think we're good now. That's a pretty little fairy. You might want to take your pens and color it in with purple or green, whatever color you want. But where to